Welcome back to Kaijumania. My name's Rocket and this week we are going through Kong Skull Island. Now, before we start on the review, let me tell you about my history with Kong, because Kong for me was the OG. Is the reason that I do any of this, is the reason I like Godzilla, it's the reason all of this kind of exists basically. So even though Godzilla might be my favourite now, this fella, he started it all. When I was about 5 years old, I saw the very first black and white King Kong. Someone had taped it off the telly. Watched it, fell in love with it. However, I never saw the end of the film. Does he make it? Years of never knowing. I thought he could have survived, you never know. So my love for Kong runs deep. However, this isn't that Kong. This isn't Carl Denham. This isn't Andero. This isn't New York City fighting the planes in the 30s. None of this. It's a new story. This is set in the 70s. It's a different Kong, but we are on Skull Island. And you know what? Considering we need to have King Kong against Godzilla, yeah, we need a new story, because let's be honest, if we had the 30s King Kong, it just doesn't work. There's no scenario where you can fit that King Kong into the Godzilla universe. They tried it in the 60s, they just completely made up their own thing then. We've got to make up our own thing now. This film, just to get you straight off the bat that it's not 1933, we start at the end of the World War. We've got a young John C. Reilly and we've got a Japanese plane fighter. They kind of crash over the Pacific Isle somewhere, and basically it's one-on-one. Japanese soldier gets his sword out, he's about to kill John C. Reilly, and to be honest, he probably should do. He's got a sword, John C. Reilly hasn't, and anyway, they're about to fight, and boom, we get King Kong's hands coming onto the screen, teasing it, and boom, we cut. But this is the difference between Godzilla 2014 and Kong Skull Island. We know exactly what the film's called, and they show us the monster within the first 2 minutes. Do they show us it properly? No, but it's a good tease. They tease us to what is to come. Not waiting an hour and then teasing Kong, tease us straight away, so we know what's coming. Then we cut to Dan from Roseanne. He has got his little protege with him, and he's basically trying to get some government funding for his team to go and explore Skull Island. And Skull Island this time looks like a skull, which hey, I'm all for. Why not? Basically, Monarch have not got much money. In fact, they're going broke, and there's not been much happening since '54. So yeah, again, we've got a nod back to the OG Godzilla. So they convinced the government basically by saying, hey look, Russia will find it if we don't. So they're like, yeah, well, we better find them then. So we need to assemble a team. So we need Loki, we need Captain Marvel, we need Nick Fury. Nick Fury, army man through and through, loves his platoon, loves his job. It's the only thing he knows. That's why we kind of get a grasp of here, and basically all his soldiers could go home, but no, there's one last mission that he could take on, and he takes it. He's going to run this expedition. He's going to take them all to Skull Island. We cut to Thailand. We have Loki beating up a couple of jobbers, just as Dan from Roseanne, John Goodman, just as he walks in, just to show that, hey look, I'm an army guy, I'm a bit tough, I can sort people out with a pool cue me. And we get all that jazz. And I like Tom Hiddleston. I'm not too sure he's right for this role, but you know, we just go with it. And we then cut, we see some bit of photographer from Captain Marvel, Brie Larson. She does photos. What do you want? She needs to go on out. I can't remember why she needs to go on this island, but she needs to go on this island, and whatever. Let's just get to the island. So we get our team, we're getting on the boat, we're going to Skull Island. You get to see lots of banter between all the soldiers, and you can tell that the cast and crew were just having lots of fun on set, which is good because it translates through the screen, and we, the audience, can see just how much fun they were having, which is exactly what you should be doing when you're a part of a film that's about 70s soldiers fighting a giant ape. Yeah, it should be a fun film. And there's a big storm coming, or they have to fly through a big storm to get to the island. Samuel Jackson says, hold on to your boats, which, yeah, nice little nod like there. We get through, we get to the island, and then we need to find the geography of the island, so let's start dropping these bombs to measure seismic activity and all this kind of jazz. And this is a great scene. You just see explosions going off, the vets all laughing and cheering and stuff like, yeah, this is a good fun. And there's an amazing shot guy sat in a helicopter with the aviators on, explosions going off in his glasses as he's smiling away, and it's probably one of my favourite shots of the film. All this bomb dropping wakes up a particular person, Mr. King Kong, only young Kong at this point. How old is he? We're not sure, because he's about 100 foot and he ends up being about 300 foot, so to triple in size he must be pretty young. You know, is he a toddler? Who knows? But anyway, King Kong wakes up, he's not happy, people are bombing him, he's had a kip, he's been woke up, it's Sunday morning, what time do you call this? Don't be bombing me on a Sunday morning. So he goes, well, apeshit, starts bashing up helicopters, ripping them out the sky, and as Kong eats a man, we get a transition of a man eating a bacon butty. And I, all for one, am all about a good transition. We have an island divided. We've got Nick Fury and the soldiers on one part of the island. We've got Captain Marvel and Loki on another part of the island. They need to meet, they need to get together, they need to get off this island. But Nick Fury, he's pissed off. He has a word with John Goodman. He's like, hey, you never told me that we're going to be blooming giant apes on this. And John Goodman's like, well, unfortunately, that's just life, isn't it? About 30 years ago, I was attacked by Godzilla, and now we're being attacked by King Kong, and well, you're gonna have to put up with it. So Nick Fury's like, right, well, I need to go kill this bloody ape. So we follow the soldiers for a bit. They're walking through the woods. One of them takes a drink. As he's taking a drink, a giant leg goes right through his throat, pins him to the ground. We look up, it's Kumonga. Well, it isn't, but it's a giant spider, which is clearly a nod to Kumonga, which again, I'm all about. They start chopping its legs down, gunning it, and they do manage to kill it. So that's the difference, because Kumonga probably wouldn't go down so easy. Meet up with Bree and Tom, they bump into the Iwi people. We then get John C. Reilly out. He's like, hey, look, Iwis, Tom and Bree, the Iwis. I'll tell you about this island. You see, we got Kong's mum and dad, they used to run the shop, they were king and queen. But then giant skull crawlers killed both of them, and now it's little Kong on his own, and he's got to look after this island. So basically, don't piss off King Kong, because he's the only one in charge around here. But as he's telling them about this, we get our first fight of the evening. King Kong, 2-on-1 handicap match against two smaller skull crawlers. And it's a short-lived match. A skull crawler is coming face to face with King Kong, he gets it in a headlock, he's giving a knuckle rub, he's like, oh, come here, you. But there's another one jumping on his back, and he's not having any of that. Gets that off his back, then the skull crawler's got a monkey on his shoulder, and it's all go, and King Kong wins pretty easily, pretty convincingly. King Kong is your champion. Woo! We skip forward. Nick Fury's met up with Loki and Bree, and they're saying, look, what we're going to do, we need to look for this bloke. They're like, no, don't look for a bloke, he's probably dead. He is dead. But Nick Fury's insistent because he needs to kill King Kong. They go looking, they stumble upon a radio that's making a noise. Now, I'm not too sure if this is coincidental, incidental, or if it's a purposeful nod, but it kind of sounds a bit like the roar that Titanosaurus makes. Now, Titanosaurus yet to make an appearance in the Monsterverse, and to be honest, considering the Godzilla roster, he's probably quite low down on the list, so it might just be a coincidence, but if it's not, that's a fun little nod anyway. The gang then visit Kong's graveyard, they get to see his mum and dad and stuff, a skull crawler gets involved, gas goes off, Tom Hiddleston gets a sword and a gas mask. I'm a little confused with this because there's toxic gas going on, so he puts a gas mask on, kills a few things, then he takes his gas mask off. There's still loads of this shit around, so God knows what he's breathing in, but he is Loki, so we'll let him off. And we end up getting towards our big end scene. So Sam Jackson, he's all about killing Kong. He's got this plan, it's going to plan as well. He sets King Kong on fire, he's about to finish him off, detonate him. Brie Larson and Loki are like, look, don't do that. John C. Reilly's like, look, I've been here a long time, he's my mate, don't kill him, come on. So no, it doesn't really kind of get resolved because the only reason anything happens is because a giant skull crawler comes up and King Kong ends up killing Nick Fury anyway. But that leads us to our main event, the World Heavyweight title. We have got King Kong, Big Daddy Skullcrawler, a one-on-one fight to the death. It starts good for Kong, he's getting his licks in, he's getting his punches in, gets a tree, wipes all the branches off, smack, baseball bat attack. It's all going good for Kong. Skullcrawler gets a bit in himself, and then Kong ends up falling back and he gets tangled up in a boat chain. You're like, oh no, where's this going? He's caught on the ropes, but King Kong manages to pull some chains. He's got the propeller from the bottom of a boat. He uses his scorpion come over here attack, throws the chain, pulls it back, starts using it as a knuckle duster, slits the Skullcrawler up the throat. And whilst all this is going on, Brie Larson, she's took a dive off a cliff, and he's like, hey up, go save the lady. Picks her up, because it's King Kong, he has to save the lady, that's what he does. And Skullcrawler then bites his arm and ends up getting King Kong's fist right down his throat, so at some point Brie Larson is inside the mouth of the Skullcrawler. But the Skullcrawler's tongue is all around King Kong's arm, and King Kong rips it out, rips the throat out of the Skullcrawler, and still your undisputed heavyweight champion of the world of Jim Crockett's Promotions, it's King Kong. We then cut to the happy ending, everyone gets home okay, well everyone that survived gets home okay. We get like this little 70s kind of documentary of how John T. Reilly met his wife, and she drops a plate of milkshakes and stuff. I mean, I have a little nitpick with this because it's supposed to be like it's being filmed like a documentary, so it's like a camera crew are following John C. Reilly. However, they cut to inside the house from the house's perspective on John C. Reilly as well, and kind of like a reality TV show, when someone knocks at the door, then the camera cuts and it's opening the door and it's that guy, and it's like, well, clearly the camera crew have already been inside the house, told everyone what's going on and filmed the reactions and stuff, so why she's so shocked, because she should know what's going on. But that's by the by, it's just a little moment, it's a tiny nitpick in an otherwise fun film, and that's the best way to describe this film: fun. Jordan Vogt-Roberts understood the assignment on this film: make a fun film about King Kong, tease Godzilla so we can get a big fight, and that's exactly what he did. He just nailed it. He made it fun, all the cast and crew great, the music's great, the fun banter between the soldiers, it's kind of like a bit like Predator-ish, or you know, other films like that where all the good banter going on. It's just a good, fun film. It's what Kong should be, and it gets 2 massive ape thumbs up from me. Do I have any criticisms? Yeah, is it a perfect film? No. Of course there's a few things, little nitpicks, nothing major. The only real thing I would complain about is probably the length. It's just shy of 2 hours, and to be honest, it could probably be about 15-20 minutes shorter. Just because there's a bit of areas where it feels like it's a bit bloated. Could have been trimmed down nice and tight and it'd be even better. That is the only thing I can complain about. But that is it for Kong Skull Island. Join us next week where we've got Godzilla defending his title after beating the Mutos last week. He's got to defend it against Ghidorah. So, Godzilla, King Ghidorah, who is King of the Monsters? Find out next week.